The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Whether she's walking the red carpet or doing interviews, you'll find her with celebrities and all the latest news. She's here, she's there, she's everywhere, she's always on the go. So sit back, relax, and get ready. This is the Corey Taylor Talks Show.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Corey Taylor Talks, live from Las Vegas, the #1 teen talk show. I am so excited for my guest today because what he does is incredible, and I think it can help a lot of people out there. So I have the amazing Joe Engle with me. So hi Joe, how are you?
Hi Corey, I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for being on the show. Truly, it's an honor, and everything you're doing is really cool and helping a lot of people and saving a lot of lives. So
Well, thank you so much. I don't know how to take that. It's very honored. I feel very honored to be asked to speak anywhere.
Oh, well, truly, I think everyone should have you speak because, well, let's talk about it. There is no hero in Heroin.
Yes.
It's the foundation.
Yes.
And so why don't you talk a little bit about it because it's really an important thing.
Well, it started out in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona. No, so yeah, should I look at you? Because I don't know where to look.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
All right, good. All right, I'm worried about it.
No.
Anyways, it started out in Tucson, Arizona, and it started out in 2012. I lost my oldest son in 2011 here in Las Vegas. I have 4 sons and 3 are living. After a period of grief, I reached out, and of all places on social media, and at the time there was a couple of other different organizations sprouting up, the anti-heroin movement,
right.
and I reached out to a couple of them, and I said, well, wow, what can I do? I mean, I'm interested in what you guys are doing, and the founder of the organization asked if I would like to start a Las Vegas chapter.
Mm-hmm.
I said, sure. I said, what do I do? She said, start a Facebook page. That's about what I did, and so we grew from there. We operated under her. She was a nonprofit 501c3 at the time, and we operated here in Las Vegas. And we said that the first thing that we're going to need, we don't know what we're going to need, do, but we're going to need money.
Yeah.
So we had a community yard sale. So we made, we asked around, got donations, and made about $800.
Wow.
And we thought, well, now that we have money, what can we do with it? So one of my board members at the time, we were their friends, another parent who's had been affected by heroin addiction. She said, well, why don't we give the money to this particular sober living house, and they already do a couple of scholarships a month. Why don't we give them the opportunity to do one more scholarship? And that was $500, $580 actually. So we said, great, and then we made that a goal.
Yeah.
Let's make this a goal, a tangible goal that we can do. And so we started raising funds, and to date now we've given 48 of those scholarships away.
Wow.
So it's all from volunteers. We're a 100% volunteer organization. We do golf tournaments, we do shooting tournaments, we get private donations, whatever we can do. We all have jobs.
Yeah.
We all work full time, and in our off hours we decide to try to help other people.
Absolutely, and that's really cool. And exactly, you do work full time and stuff. So for you to especially be giving your time, because if working a full time job is really difficult, and to also balance it with this and still help and everyone, that's really
There's a lot of
cool.
plates that are spinning. For
Yeah,
sure.
I'm sure.
I'm a person in long-term recovery.
Yeah.
So I have my own personal recovery program that I try to work. I'm recently married. I'm coming up on 2 years.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. So she's in recovery as well. So we do a lot of that stuff together. And I have kids that I've raised. I have a job that I raised. That I do. So there's and then I have TIN High. TIN High is the acronym for There's No Hero in Heroin. It's a little easier to say. So mostly, other than that, it's hard to keep the balance.
No, absolutely. But you're doing it, and you're doing a great job. So really, very kudos to you. And I do want to say, too, I'm very sorry to hear about your son. But what amazes me while doing this show is we found a lot of people who took something that's so horrific. You don't even want to even imagine something like that ever happening. But you did something positive with it, and you're helping save a lot of lives with it. And I think that's such an important thing, and that's really, it takes a special person to do that. So really, that's amazing.
Well, grieving parents can move mountains.
Yeah.
They can.
Yeah.
I've met the people that I've met along the way are you know, it's unfortunate the way that I've met other grieving parents.
Yeah.
But the collaboration that we have and the empathy that we have towards one another, it's a fraternity that no one wants to be a part of.
Of course.
But I can't imagine my life today without those people in my life. I mean, like I said before, a grieving parent can move a mountain.
Yeah. And but you are, and you really are. You're saving a bunch of lives with it, and it's such an important thing. And you do have an event coming out now. You know, you said you do a lot of different events. You do have an event coming up. I did see, correct? The golf.
The golf.
Yes.
The golf tournament. Yes. And if there's any golfers out there, we need you. We need golfers. We need sponsors. We need raffle items. All of those. That's our anchor fundraiser for the year. That one golf tournament will satisfy our scholarships. That, you know, our one scholarship a month, and then some. So if, you know, the bigger the golf tournament, the more scholarships that we're able to give.
Awesome, and I hope a lot of people will show up for that too. And I'm not a personal golfer. I never.
But people know golfers.
Been good. Yes,
people
exactly.
People know golfers, and can we share that link on your
site?
Yes,
of course.
So we can say go to CoreyTaylorTalks.com. Is that
yes,
right?
Yes.
And then the link will be on there. There'll be a registration link. It's September 16th, 8 a.m. at Boulder Creek Golf Course.
Perfect. And
thank you for that.
Of course. And I also want to talk about, heroin, I don't even think a lot of people realize like how present it still is, and it's such a horrifying problem that's going on right now, and it's a huge epidemic, and it's been around for years, but I think now recently there's even been a spike in it, and it's just it's really a bad thing, and unfortunately teenagers are getting into it, and adults and everyone. So what advice do you have for people who might be into it, might know someone that is dealing with the issues, or what advice do you have for people with that?
Heroin addicts are not happy about using heroin. Heroin addicts, they're not going out to get high.
Right.
It may have started out that way. It may have started out as kind of fun and just playing around, but they get to a point, heroin grabs a hold of them so hard. So I believe that we really, you know, people like to say, why can't they just stop?
Right.
Well, they would if they could.
Absolutely.
They certainly would, but they can't. So if you know somebody, or if you are somebody, I mean, we need to treat them with compassion.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to the punitive measures, which is what the war on drugs has actually created. You know, just a lot of criminals that are getting locked up.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely no rehabilitation. It takes a heroin addict on average 5 to 6 times to try to get clean.
Yeah.
It's not like coming off of any other drugs, opiates, and oxys, you know, the same Lortabs, any opiate or opiate being the natural, and opioid being, you know, the manufactured.
Yeah, I always I learned it's probably one of the worst drugs to do, because it is, getting off of it is just it's horrible. And
the withdrawal, the 72-hour mark is the worst mark after the withdrawal. That's physically, so you got 3 days leading up, 3 days on the backside of it. That's just horrific, like the worst flu you've ever had in your life.
Yeah.
But then the mental it's there for weeks and even months, and these rehabs that we have out right now are horrendous.
Yeah.
You know, the rehabs, if you don't have insurance, you can't get in. You know, there's heroin addicts that are dying on the street, you know, dying from withdrawal. I mean, literally, they feel like they're dying, and they try to get into a place, and the first question they're asked is, what's your insurance? And that needs to change.
Yeah.
We can do better as a nation.
I know the rehabilitation centers, and they're really sad, and
There's not enough.
There's not enough room.
And they're too expensive.
Yeah, exactly, and
it's ridiculous.
it's really I think there does need to be, and it's not just for heroin. It's a bunch of different other things these rehab centers are, but there's not enough room for people, and it's all the insurance, and it's not there's not enough funding for anything, and it's a sad thing that I think we could do better.
Addiction came out. The Surgeon General released last November the very first ever Surgeon General's report on alcoholism and drug addiction, and they've clearly, there's not any, the World Health Organization, American Medical Association, everybody agrees that it is a disease.
Oh, yes.
So there's no other chronic progressive disease that we treat in this manner. Why can't you just stop having diabetes?
Right.
Why don't you just stop that? We don't do that.
Right.
Yet we do that with addiction, time and time again. And quite frankly, that idea of whether it's a moral failing or whether it's a choice, whether it's a disease, that's not the conversation. The conversation is, what can we do to stop our kids from dying?
Yeah.
What can we do? I mean, that's not the conversation to have at this point. We got to stop the bleeding.
Right, and that is the thing, and I think a lot of people, unfortunately, are very judgmental on addicts and stuff, and you don't know the situation, and it's very easy to judge people, but until you're actually in their shoes, you really don't understand, and there are so many people out there trying to help, but unfortunately, it's just you can't help everyone, so they're going through these really bad struggles alone, and they're turning to horrible things, and I think it's so easy for someone to point their finger at someone, but it's a disease. Exactly, it's a disease, and even getting started on it can change just one time. It's not just one time usually. It's a lifelong addiction, and people really don't realize that.
And lifelong recovery after that.
Yeah.
So recovery support services are what we need as well.
Yes.
We need the on-demand treatment. If somebody says, I need treatment, we need to be able to give them a bed, and then once they get out and released, when you get released from, the aftercare.
Yeah.
The aftercare it's critical. You said it. It's lifelong.
Yeah.
So the recovery support services that we need to develop as a community need to be better too. And which, if we could talk about the high school.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, why don't you talk about the high school? Because a lot of teenagers, unfortunately, are getting addicted to it, and it's horrible to even think of. But you do have this high school, and you reach out with high schools too. So why don't you talk about all that?
The Clark County School District has the high school.
Yes.
I was me and two other of my friends. We billed ourselves as the Three Amigos because it was a perfect storm between the three of us getting together. We all had the same passion and the same idea that we wanted to help, and what was the help going to look
Awesome.
like. And one of our friends happened to be an associate superintendent at the Clark County School District.
Awesome.
I had the idea. There's been a movement of recovery high schools, small, I'll bet, but it is there. Initiated by an organization called, one man in particular, Greg Williams. He came up with a movie called The Anonymous People. He followed that up with a documentary called Generation Found. The movie Generation Found was based a documentary on the high school, the Archway Academy. It's in Houston, Texas, which is currently having the rains. It's horrible. They're just starting school this year. But that's the longest open or the biggest recovery high school in the nation right now. They have roughly 120 kids, and they did a beautiful documentary on it about combining the academics along with the recovery aspect. Not an opportunity school for these kids. However, that model's a little different. It's a private school, so it costs money to go there. There's some scholarships available. So when we had the idea for it, we knocked on every door that we could, and not one person said it was a bad idea. And last May, we got the 6-0 vote with the Clark County School District School Board trustees.
Wow.
Let's spend the district's money on this, because this is prevention. Every dollar that's put towards prevention saves $8 in services later down the line.
Right.
That's an important thing. So this particular school, we got the state of Nevada involved. The state of Nevada Department of Adult Mental Health. They are ponying up 3 licensed positions: licensed clinical drug and alcohol counselor, licensed clinical social worker, licensed family and marriage therapist. So there's so they're putting in money into the pot. We got the district putting in the school, and then all the staffing. Then the city of Las Vegas decided to put in $100,000 for a beautification project.
Wow.
So I kept telling my friends, we got a trifecta. We got city, state, and district.
Yeah.
All on the same page, and
That's a rare thing.
Any one of those is literally an act of Congress.
Yeah.
And we got all 3 of them on the same page. So that just goes to show you the depth of the addiction problem that we have right now.
Yeah. But that's so cool that this is going on. And I think a lot of people should be aware of this program too, because that's
Yes.
this high school. Because
Accepting enrollment now.
awesome. So how do people apply for it and stuff? And how do they get
Contact
into
me
it?
through the website. I will put you in touch with the principal, and we'll enroll you. Right now, we started last week with one kid, and we have 19.
Wow.
We're going to do a big PR push
Yes.
to get the kids. We have a partnership with the Department of Juvenile Justice, in their course, and it's more of a diversionary. We don't want the kids are not getting sentenced to this school.
Right.
This school is 100% voluntary.
That's cool.
You have to be working a program of recovery. Your parents have to be working a program of recovery as well, because addiction is a family disease. Doesn't just happen to the addict. It happens to the family. The ripple effects of addiction and the depths of it go a long way.
Absolutely.
But the ripple effects of recovery go just as far, even longer.
Yeah.
So we can reach out and really, once we touch the individual, we touch the family, we'll touch the community, and then, pretty soon our state.
That is that's such a cool thing, and I've never honestly before having you on, I never even heard of it anything like that, and that's a really cool program, and I think it can help a lot of
This is
people
the first
out
in the
there.
nation. This is the first in the nation
Yeah.
school of this particular funded this way.
Yeah.
Funded through public dollars like this.
That's so cool.
There are a couple of public recovery high schools, to my knowledge, but they're a school within a school, and they're using part of the charter public funds,
Right.
which is not exactly. It's just a little different. And again, this is we could hold 100 kids up in this school. There's going to be my organization. There's no Heroin is running the after school project. We call that the alternative peer group. The
Gotcha.
alternative peer group idea is going to take care of the kids outside of school hours. So we've had a slew of volunteers. We opened up over the summer at the City Impact Center. We've had a slew of volunteers coming in that are doing songwriting classes, acoustic guitar classes,
Wow.
painting classes. I mean, and these are all volunteers. I mean, we've had 75 volunteers in the first month, and we couldn't even schedule them all.
That's so cool.
It's unbelievable. And then we're getting support from the 12-step community to actually come in, so we want, after the kid leaves treatment, we want to provide them a continuum of care.
Right.
So they're going to have the wraparound services with the alternative peer group, a place to hang out during the summer and on the holidays and on weekends and in the evenings when the school's closed. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a thriving culture down there. We're going to do a end of the month speaker. On Saturday, it's going to be a potluck. We're going to have the whole community there, so we're going to have one of the judges. We're going to have one of the business leaders, come and, we want a family atmosphere. We
Yeah.
want, DJ down there, and it's going to be the end of the last Saturday of every month.
That I truly, that gives me chills. God bless you for doing that, and and that's a lot of work on you to get this started, and really, and everyone involved. That took a lot of time, I'm sure, and a lot of convincing and stuff. But you got it done, and really, that's so cool, and it's changing a lot of lives.
Everything lined up. The person who led the way for us was Greg Williams. He started another organization called Facing Addiction. That's a national nonprofit that we sit on their board, and we're under their umbrella. They want to get the collective voice from the 23 million Americans that are in recovery right now, and they want to get all their voices. So currently under their umbrella, they have about 400 to 500 organizations, and they have monthly phone calls. And one of the monthly phone calls, you call in, and then everybody talks, and there's an agenda. And one of the ladies who, when I mentioned that the idea that that we had this meeting last year with the superintendent, they, I mentioned that when it was open forum. And 20 minutes later, after that phone call, my phone rang, and it was the executive director for the Association for Recovery Schools, which is
Wow.
the accreditation process. We developed a relationship, flew her out here. She gave us ideas. Turns out, we ended up getting the school open, and then just last week we're interested now in doing the collegiate recovery program. Once these kids graduate high school, we would like to feed them right into the college program, which
Wow.
is debunked right now. So I finally got a phone call just last week into this other organization, national organization, that actually funds those and helps get those up and running. And the same lady who was working for the recovery school, high school, is now working for them at the college level for that other different organization. So it's just one more time things lined up for us. So,
Yeah.
we couldn't plan it any better.
Yeah, well, things line up because it's an important thing, and
Sure.
really, it's wow. I mean, that's I don't even know what to
One
say.
more
Truly
time, one more.
speechless.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable what's happening.
Yeah, and hopefully it just gets, and I'm sure it will just get bigger and better. And for it being only open for a month and to have 19 students involved already.
2 weeks.
Or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And but it's sad that there's already 19 students, but it's a
Unfortunately, we're
good
getting
thing
bigger. That's what
that
we're
they're
saying.
getting the help that they need.
Yes.
And that's the most
We can
important
provide
thing.
the help for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the community. We had a meeting last night with some heavy duty community members that are going to form a steering committee that will help bring resources to the school. So there hasn't been anybody that said it was a bad idea.
No, and it's not a bad idea. It's an incredible idea.
Everybody knows somebody.
Yes, we were talking about that before. My mom's cousin was a heroin addict and stuff, and he fell back in and died the first time trying anything else. And I never got to meet him, but my mom was like super duper close with him, and it really affected her and affected the whole family. And his parents and stuff, after that happened, they were just completely, they were just gone, and they were never the same again, of course. And very sad thing, but thank God bless people like you for doing this and really taking your time out and putting a lot of effort into doing stuff like this for them. So really kudos. And we're going to actually take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll be talking more about this and letting people know where they can go and all that stuff. So please stick around.
Crazy Terry here with your car care tip of the day. Today's tips on cooling systems. This vehicle's got about 182,000 miles on it, so if you're checking the coolant, check the hoses too. Just feel them and see if they're soft or any signs of fatigue for the mileage on it. They don't feel bad. They look like they're still the original hose, but you want to make sure you don't go too long with these hoses because they will eventually deteriorate, cause a problem. In this case, this car's got a visible leak. The customer brought it to us. We'll pop the hood and check the cooling system. First, we just relieve any pressure might be on the cap. Remove the cap. Take a look inside. We see it's kind of low. Now we'll start our inspection. What we found on this one is the top tank is leaking. It's got a crack in it. Pretty common for these plastic radiators to do that. I want to get to a shop right away because severe engine damage can result from overheating condition like this. In this case, it was pretty easy to see the crack was right on the top tank, but a lot of times we'll have to pressurize the system to locate the exact leak. Could be a hose in the back, could be underneath. Some of these are hard to find, but in this case, a very common leak, the top tank. When we're testing a cooling system, it's okay to use just water, but you want to make sure when you're filling it up properly, it's a 50-50 mix of antifreeze and water. It needs the water to make the chemical work, so don't just put straight antifreeze. 50-50 mix is the best way to go. Keep it clean, keep it rust-free. So as you can see, we got a pretty active leak. You got to get this fixed, or there's going to be some engine problems. If you're going to top off your own coolant, it's really not that hard. If you got a radiator cap, just make sure it's not hot. Take the cap off and take a look. In this case, we're pretty full here, but what we have is the overflow jugs empty. So we'll just add that. Once again, check your manufacturer's specs to make sure what type of coolant you have. In this case, we're using the good old green. There's gold, there's red, there's yellow, all types out there. Just want to make sure you're staying with your manufacturer recommended coolant. And that's really all there is to it. The cooling system is a major component. You'll want to service that regularly. If you have a problem, it could be too late and cost you thousands of dollars. If ever you have a problem, come into Sun Valley Automotive. It's no charge to look at your cooling system. This is Crazy Terry with your car care tip of the day.
And we are back, and we've been talking a lot during the break too. And it's just even our producer and stuff known someone that's gone through an addiction, and I think everyone truly knows somebody, some way, somehow, or is personally affected, or someone super close to them, and because it's such a big problem, and it's disgusting that it's a big problem. It's horrible that there's not enough programs out there, and our rehab centers and stuff there's not enough of them for them, and it's just really, but people like you are making such a huge difference. And also our producer brought up too, he wanted to say it's not just children. We're talking a lot about teens because this is a teen talk show, but it affects anyone. You can get into it at any
Sure.
any age at all, but
Sure.
I think starting off in high school and really showing these kids is a good thing.
And seniors, actually, their pain medication.
Oh.
They get hooked on pain medication often. So there's been senior addiction has been spiked as well. So everybody, I mean, certainly I'm focused on adolescents. That's where my passion is right now. But it's across the board.
I didn't even think about seniors. That's that completely makes sense.
There's a new idea out now to there's overdose prevention, overdose medication called naloxone and Narcan. And it's a sin what they're charging for some of these medications.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to bring somebody back from death, and it's like, if you've seen the movie Pulp Fiction.
Yes. Yeah.
Remember when she?
Yeah, I was that for Halloween, which is really, I had the needle in my heart for Halloween.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's not quite as dramatic.
Right. That's good. Thank God.
It's not that dramatic.
Because that was scary.
It's the same functionality.
Right.
It brings you back. So it actually so that particular medication is outrageous. We need to change, because there's one of the ideas. I mean, I've had trainings with the chief medical director, City Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, is to come out and gave us trainings on this. And they used to have to get a prescription for it from a doctor, and the doctors didn't know how to prescribe it. Senate Bill 459, which was passed into legislation 2 years ago, actually made it available that people here in Nevada can carry this medication. It's been legal in California a lot longer. However, now that there's a surge in it, the drug companies decided to raise their prices. And I'm talking, one of my trainings, this woman got, she called me crying. She had the training, she had her certificate, she went to go fill a prescription, and it was $3,500.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
$3,500. So she was in tears. She couldn't get it.
Of course.
So that's the
my gosh.
injectable kind. They have a couple of different ones, and it's certainly it's not. The nasal spray will be significantly cheaper, but if you have insurance, some insurance companies will pick it up, some won't. So
my gosh.
it hasn't been around long enough here in Nevada for us to really figure out a way to get this, but it's criminal. It's criminal what they're doing.
My
they're
gosh.
capitalizing on.
It's all about money now, and
people don't know how to get this information. We need to get this information out there.
Yes.
Everybody who has a parent that's on opioid medication for pain management, which is fine, they should have that.
Right.
However, they are at risk of dying of an overdose.
Yeah.
So so these drug manufacturers know that, and then all of the first responders are carrying this in their paramedic trucks all over, and they're using it all over town right now. They're using it all the time. I mean, it's staggering the numbers that you'd have. But so the nasal spray is probably, there's a cheap one that you put the atomizer on. I think you can get that. That's relatively cheaper. It's like $40, I think, at worst.
That's still too much to save a life. It should be. It's a lot better than $3,500.
So it's ridiculous. So that one, I won't even say the name of it because we don't want to give them any advertising.
No. Oh my gosh, that reminds me even of the AIDS drugs, that they raised the prices ridiculous. Like, it was like really cheap, and then to see
the EpiPens.
Yeah. Oh, did they really?
They had that same thing that was in the news as well.
Yeah, and it's just money-hungry people, and it's a very sad thing. But the nasal spray, that's awesome. At least that's a lot cheaper and more affordable.
And there's another organization that's a harm reduction organization here in town. Can I say that?
Yes. Oh, please do.
Track B over off of Jones and Charleston area. They actually will give it's harm reduction. It's paid for by a grant from the health department.
Oh wow.
And the idea for harm reduction is not accepted by everybody. Some people think that it's enabling people, but the idea is that we're reducing harm, and you're reducing the spread of infectious diseases. You're reducing the spread of AIDS and hepatitis. Because if somebody's going to use, they're going to use, and they will give out fresh clean needles. They will give out a little anti-overdose kit, so they should carry the anti-overdose medication with them. And it's all anonymous. You don't need any ID. You can walk in there, bring your old needles, they'll give you new ones.
I saw they had the vending machines now or whatever.
Those are the same people. Track Beat.
Okay, yeah.
That's them.
Yeah. No, I think, and there was a lot of controversy with that, which I don't think there should be at all, because it's not enabling. You're already addicted. If you're going to go down there, you're addicted to it. It's at least it's exactly so not spreading the diseases and stuff, which is even more, and it's down the rabbit hole you go. Yeah.
It's better for the community. If
Yes.
you have less infectious diseases getting spread, it's better for the community.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
And they're actually putting on Southern Nevada Harm Reduction Alliance is putting on a vigil for Overdose Awareness Day, which is not an international day, August 31st, which is 2 days from now, Thursday.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, awesome.
And I'm going to be the leading the vigil, the closing speaker. The vigil, there's going to be the overdose medication training from 7 to 7:30 p.m. It's at Stupak Park, 300 Boston Avenue, right down there by the Stratosphere. And then from 7:30 to 8:30, there's going to be a list of speakers, shaved ice, and then the vigil with the candlelight vigil, which is, I think it's just the little battery tea lights. Actually, I don't think it's real candles, but and then there'll be list names of people who have passed away. Mm-hmm. So it's an international. That leads us up into September, which is Recovery Month.
Oh, awesome.
So the Recovery Month, if people want to support the Southern Nevada Harm Reduction Alliance, all the money that's going to go towards them, you could round up for overdose awareness. ROAR, they're calling that, ROAR. So there's a couple of participating businesses downtown. There'll be flyers. Look for flyers for the places that you go to business and all those funds. So if you're whatever your bill is, if it's $13.48, you round up the 52 cents would go towards these guys.
And that makes a big difference.
So, yeah. So if you get enough people doing it, so all those funds are going to support this new organization, which harm reduction, as we talked about, is controversial. It's actually going to help them get established here in the community.
Yeah, awesome, very cool, and I think and then it will save a lot of lives. So why don't you go over everything again? Because believe it or not, we're actually already getting towards the end. But I really think everything, once again, is just amazing, and I've learned a lot on today's show and stuff, and really I hope a lot of people have. So please go over everything. Where can people get the help? Where can people get involved at this school? Donations, everything.
Donations, okay. Mission High School is the name of the high school. We're open. We're looking for students right now. It's 801 North Veterans Memorial Drive. August 31st is International Overdose Awareness Day, vigil, 7 to 8:30 p.m. on 300 Boston Avenue, right by the it's at Stupak Park, right by the Stratosphere. And then September 16th is our fundraiser, our anchor fundraiser, our golf tournament, our 4th annual golf tournament, and all of our proceeds will go towards putting kids into sober living homes.
Awesome, very cool. And what's so cool too is you're not just ending it once they leave; they're done. You're helping them
and then
out.
Come support the alternative peer group.
Yeah.
The alternative peer group is gonna be a culture in and of itself.
Yeah.
So we're really hoping to move the needle on this one.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Joe, for being on.
Having
Truly, it was an honor. And everyone, please go support everything, because even if you don't know someone that has been addicted, you very well can. And God forbid you could even become addicted, or your kids could become addicted, your parent, anyone could become addicted. And so if we help it now and help lower it and help figure out how to get rid of it and stop it as much as possible, and really help the people, and it'll make a big difference in everyone's lives. So please go support it, and thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, never give up, always believe, and you'll achieve. Thank you. God bless.